He's the hottest prospect in all of Oceania MMA. He's George Mangos, and he's right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your main event.
Live from HBF Stadium Festival Hall. Melbourne Pavilion. Not even backstage, we're literally outside.
Was that the best fight card in Australian MMA history?
Call me crazy, but make sure you call me when I'm right.
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page would give us a bit of glow up because we're killing
Welcome to the Australian MMA podcast. My name is Richard Sinley. I'm your host of the Australian MMA podcast. Today's guest is none other than George Mangos, an undefeated featherweight, defending his featherweight championship at Hex 34 March 1st against Ethan Thomas. Now, really tough opponent for George Mangos. If you don't know, George Mangos recently signing with Chosen Advisory, old Dan Maudsley and Tim Simpson, who are just an absolute superstar factory. They only represent the very best, so it should kind of go to show just how high they think George Mangos can go. George Mangos is right at the doorstep of the UFC, and it's been an absolute explosion over the last 2 years. I think he's only 21. And he's just, man, the world is his oyster. He really is something special. He's pulled off absolute highlights. His head kick against Sochi Tomita was violent. He pulled off one of the most beautiful flying triangles against, at the time, the pound-for-pound number one fighter in the region, Justin Van Heerden, who's also on the card. But George can absolutely do it all. He's got a hell of a test. Ethan Thomas won the Oceania trials for ADCC and went to ADCC. A hell of a black belt. You guys have heard me talk about how good Rod Costa is. In their matchup, Ethan Thomas dominated on the ground against Rod, just to show you just how amazing Ethan is on the ground. And he's got some good hands as well. He's just tough. He does not have the hype that he should have. And if George can not just beat him, but run through him, like some people might even be expecting, George is going to be as good as advertised. So March 1st, Hex Fight Series 34. Check it out. Guys, if you want these t-shirts, head on over to ma1combat.com.au, search Oz MMA, AUSMMA. If you are a gym or an event and you want any help with experts handling your insurance, make sure you hit up combatsportsinsurance.com.au. They can help you with your events, your gyms, all that sort of whatnot. And guys, on the other side, we're going to hear from our friends at Vex. And on the other side of that, we're going to hear from none other than the man himself, George Mangos.
Vex MMA has officially teamed up with PRP Global, and their brand new website is now live. Head over to Vex MMA to check out their latest gear, perfect for fighters and fans alike. Whether you're stepping into the cage or just repping the lifestyle, Vex MMA has you covered.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. George Mangos, mate, welcome. That looks like a fake background.
Yeah, no, it's my dad's garden. Yeah, it's real. It's real.
Yeah, it looks like one of those like Zoom backgrounds that you just pick.
No, it's pretty good, but yeah, he takes pride in it.
It's in the Greek culture, eh?
Yeah, that's it. It's standard.
Does he water the concrete?
Yeah, he does. Well, it's raining now, so that's done the job. But the driveway needs some watering sometimes.
Here's something I've never asked you as well. With your old fight career, isn't like Greek culture all about like food, and if you don't eat, it's like insulting and shit? So how do you get around that?
Yeah, no, it was hard to pay some visits to the grandparents while I'm cutting weight and stuff, and family birthdays and stuff. It's pretty shit. So yeah, everyone's trying to force food down my throat, but I can't really.
Is there a way to get around it? Like, is there any like weird dessert where you're like, oh fuck, if I replace that and do that, I can still have it?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it depends how far out from the fight I am. Sorry, so sometimes I might have a little bit, skip a meal the next day if it's too bad. So we'll just work around it.
Yeah, exactly. The tougher opponent, the guy you're going up against the title for, or your grandparents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What are they called? Yeah, yeah. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Greek culture. Hey, mate, how's the prep been? You got a hell of an opponent. Actually, I guess talk about how the fight came about, because Ethan Thomas done some great stuff grappling wise, but bar, I think his fight with Rod Costa, which might have been like a year or so ago, he's kind of been away from MMA. So how did this fight even come about?
Yeah, like you said, I don't think he fought last year in 2024. He was doing the ADCC stuff.
Yeah.
He won the trials, made the world tournament. I think he lost in the first round then on points, but yeah, he was busy with doing some jiu-jitsu stuff. So I think because we were actually like maybe gonna fight last year around the time when I was scheduled to fight Dan Jones, we're looking at fighting him. But yeah, then we heard from his team that he was gonna focus on jiu-jitsu, so it didn't end up happening. But yeah, he's a dangerous guy. You know, it's a tough fight. So he hasn't like he's not that much hype behind him, but he's no walkover fight. That's for sure.
No, he's pretty incredible, and especially on the grappling
Mm.
sense. Like Justin Van Heerden was known for his like MMA grappling, but like
Mm.
Ethan Thomas, not only is he known for his MMA grappling, he's known because of like even what he did with Rod Costa. Now he's a little bit bigger than Rod, but still he won that grappling exchange on the ground type thing. So he can do it in MMA and jiu-jitsu. It's not like you just bringing over some guy that dominates only in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, exactly right. So, you know, that's what we've been preparing for. Someone who's going to be like dangerous, not only in the wrestle. He's got decent hands as well. You know, he's very powerful. So I can't be lazy and get caught on the feet either. So, but like you said, against Rod in that fight, he dominated a black belt on the ground and won by decision. So he's no joke.
Yeah, and it's like with a guy like that, is it hard to go like do you have to almost have a word to yourself and go like don't get overconfident with your hands?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where most people get taken down. You know, they're too focused on landing some big shots, and the next minute the guy's underneath you taking you down. So we've had a long camp preparing for Ethan, which I didn't get to do when I fought Justin, which was the only other heavy wrestler that I fought. So and having that fight in my back pocket plus a long camp, I'll be more than ready to fight Ethan.
Did you get kind of, was it like trying drugs the first time when you head kicked Tamita? Like are you a bit scared you're gonna go hunting a knockout?
Nah, I'll keep my composure as always. It was definitely good to, put someone to sleep and fucking get like a one shot like knockout. But yeah, look, I'm gonna be going for another one. Like it's no secret that I'm gonna have the striking advantage. He's gonna have the wrestling advantage, and we're just gonna have to see how it plays out. But yeah, I'm definitely hunting for another knockout.
Now, mate, UFC 312, you were hanging on. No one would have known who the fuck you were outside of all of those guys. Like how good was that experience to be with the chosen advisory guys, be around Tim Simpson? I think you were sitting with, was it Izzy, Ty, Jack Della? Like you were with them all.
Yeah, no, it was pretty surreal to be honest. Like that was I only been to one other UFC, the last one in Sydney when Izzy fought Strickland. So this is only my second ever UFC event, and I got to see it like, where all the fighters are, like front row. So, it was good. I was sitting right next to Jack Della the whole day and Daniel Maudsley. So it was pretty cool. And yeah, I got to pick their brains a little bit, got to see what it's like being backstage, and yeah, like only way I can describe it is surreal.
Was there anything you learnt where, they gave you a piece of advice, either with the media, maybe day to day, with the fight week, with your fight game in general? Is there anything you picked up that was super valuable?
I mean, I think the main thing I took away is that like no matter where I'm fighting, like when I make the UFC eventually, probably this year is yeah, I'm gonna be fighting there. It's a bigger show and whatever, but end of the day, like I'm just a normal guy. You're gonna be back in the gym doing the same things, and nothing really is gonna change. It's just at a high level.
That's cool, man. And was it inspiring? Did you get a little nervous? Like what was it like?
Yeah, it was pretty sick. Yeah, first I rocked up and met up with Tim, and he said they were gonna drive us there in the van, and then I hopped in the van, and then there was Bam Bam and Oliveira just sitting there, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, just everyone just acting so normal, and I was just sitting there in the van smiling at nothing, like I didn't know what to do.
So was it hard like when you meet them, like to not fanboy out?
Yeah, exactly. Especially because I was like backstage, not where there's heaps of fans and stuff. So they're probably thinking, oh, I can relax now. I don't have to interact with fans. So I didn't want to be, too much in their face and whatever. But yeah, it was definitely cool to, just experience that. And then we hopped out the van, and first thing I see is Pereira, Plinio, Marab, and I'm like, fuck me dead. Like, what's going on here? But no, it was pretty sick. So yeah, shout out to Tim for that, for sorting that out.
Did you eventually ask for any photos or like did you try and do it more like a mate?
Yeah, a little bit. I try my best not to be like a fanboy. I got a few photos, but I got one with Pereira and Izzy, which is pretty cool. Jack Della, Oliveira. So yeah, it was mad.
But I reckon that's even funny in itself because Jack Della 2 years ago, 3 years ago would have been in a similar boat where
Yeah,
now they would want photos with him. So it's got to be real, like, it's a real ego sort of like, because you don't want to be a jerk, like you're too cool, but then you
yeah,
also like, you don't want to be a loser either. So it must
exactly
have been
right.
real weird.
No, it was, but yeah, it was cool. Jack's a cool guy. Like I said, I was sitting next to him the whole day, so I got to spend the most time with him. And then now I get to see the news he's fighting for the belt, so I'm super G'd for that. So hopefully he does well.
Do you think it's cool in a weird way that you're not signed? And this is not a knock on like a Jasmine, or this just popped into my head. Addict, she's got Quillen and Cody, which is cool. But you would fit in, and you'd be like, okay, you're definitely the top echelon of who she manages.
Mhm.
Where to like chosen advisory, you're a chump. Like,
Yeah.
does that help reset kind of the ego?
Yeah, definitely, it's good. It's kind of like when you finish primary school and you go to high school, and then you're just like some little kid compared to these adults. That's how I felt as well. Like finishing my amateur career, I think I was ranked number two, 6-0, and then you start 0-0 again. So you're a nobody. So it's just the same process again. It's nothing I'm not used to. So I look forward to climbing the ranks again.
Yeah, and it kind of goes, I guess it's kind of like four stages, you go amateur, you go pro, it's a reset, you go to UFC, it's a reset. And then when you get in the top 15, it's kind of a reset as well.
Yeah, yeah, you got to prove yourself again against the top contenders. So it's just a constant game. It's constantly leveling up, evolving.
Do you feel like it's kind of like do you like that, or do you like kind of being the man? Because surely if like Ty Tuivasa is telling you about a fight that happened in the UFC, it kind of feels weird for you to then go like, oh yeah, I head kicked someone in Hex. They're kind of like, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. No, I enjoy it. It's like it's good. It's always answering the question of like how good is he. So you prove yourself here. All right, you're the best there. Turn pro now. All right, you're the best here. Go to the UFC now. How what can you do there? So I like the challenge.
Now, speaking of challenge, it feels like you hadn't had one for a little while, just in the sense of everyone was really hyping you up and just George is the next guy, George is the next guy. And then bloody Eternal happened in Sydney and people started throwing around Seb Szalay. I mean, you were obviously dropped in the comments a few times yourself, but like, what were your thoughts on Seb Szalay? And you were actually there. I mean, did you watch his performance?
Yeah, yeah, I watched the fight. He started off great. Heard him early in the first few rounds. Showed a bit of holes in his game in the fourth round. He got dominated a bit on the ground. Even after hurting Taser, he done well. He's fucking tough, that guy. Took some big shots. But yeah, it was good. I got nothing against Seb. I wish him luck before he fought. It's like look, I'm clearly the number one guy. It only makes sense for people to ask the question like how would number two do against you? So but like when you look at the stats, they don't lie. It's he's 8-1 with seven decisions. I'm 6-0 with six finishes against better opponents. Seb can't even argue that because they're his teammates, some of them. So like it's not really a question. But after this next fight, I'm gonna make sure the UFC come calling and Seb can have the title of the best unsigned featherweight.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And it's like, have you been given advice too, where it's like, it's this fight kind of, you put the finish away and we're sitting and we're waiting. Like, is that how they've outlaid it to you, or kind of, do they not disclose the plans?
Yeah, look, it's sort of that's what I've got in my head. I got a good performance. Another, typical George Mangos fight. Put him away with ease, and it only makes sense that I get a call up for something like Contender Series or something like that.
Do you think just another dominant display is what you want, like test wise, or would you rather, I mean, obviously without the recovery stuff, or would you rather
Yeah.
like a Harry Webb, Kevin Hamill, dig deep, know what you can do, or would you rather save that fight for the UFC?
Yeah, nah, fuck that. No, I was put him away early, and that's it. I know I can dig deep, and we do fucking I dig deep every week in the gym. Shark Tank rounds, like two people each round. Like I'm digging deep. I know what I'm made of. Like I don't need to prove that now in the regional scene. I just need to prove that I'm levels above everyone in Australia, and that I deserve to test myself against the best in the world.
Do you mean two people each round, like 2.5 minutes each
Yeah,
round, or do you mean
yeah.
like two guys each round?
Nah, no, it's not two at once. Nah.
Oh, I was like, you're either really good or line sent guys are shit.
Yeah, nah. Nah, I know my limits. I think that's where I draw the line.
That's pretty rude though. Like, I mean, I know Shark Tanks have gone like fresh guy each round, but a fresh guy every half a round?
Yeah, no, I've been doing that my whole. Everyone does that at my gym. The whole career, even the
Jeez.
amateurs. Every 2.5 minutes, you get a fresh guy. It's we're not here to fucking sit around and do what everyone else is doing. We're trying to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I could do that. I just tap 138 times.
Yeah, that's what I do, anyways.
Get 5 opponents out in 5 rounds, and I tap within the first minute of every round. I've still
Yeah,
done 5 rounds, haven't I?
that's it. You don't even break a sweat.
Mate, what have you implemented? Obviously, you're becoming less of just a guy named George that fights. You're turning slowly into a business already. You've probably even seen guys like Quillan Sourkield, who, he was just a dude, and then 19 seconds, all of a sudden now he's a legitimate business now. Are
Yeah.
you starting to align stuff and go, oh shit, man, okay, I'm going to delete that old Facebook post. I'm going to do this. Are you getting yourself ready?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't really have that much embarrassing stuff. I wasn't that active on socials until I started fighting, so yeah, it's more always more of a business thing, like on being on socials and stuff like that. So it's good to see like now that's how I survive. I don't work anymore. I'm just surviving off sponsors and fights, and so it's very important to maintain that.
Oh, really? Oh, it's straight off sponsors.
Yeah, that's it.
That's sick, man.
Doing
Is
good,
that
yeah.
Do you have to do much? Like I see a few social posts you put up, but do you have to go in, I don't know, paint some walls or do some
Nah, not really, man. I mean, I've been pretty lucky. Like, a lot of it is like friends of friends or family and stuff like that that are helping me out. They're not expecting, the world in return that they're gonna get $1 million worth of business by sponsoring me. They're more just trying to help look out for me. And not everyone gets this close to the UFC. So, if they can play their part and help make my life easier, then they're happy to do so.
And can you talk about like in terms of the chosen advisory stuff? I know they've been around for a little while with you, but like when does Tim or Dan actually call you and go, we're making this official? Not like what was the moment? Kind of why have they made it official?
I think now it's just about that time. Like this year, I'm gonna make sure I get signed. So now's the time to put it publicly. The UFC know who I'm working with. They've had many conversations with them about me. Um, and yeah, I think I actually signed with them like late last year, like maybe November, like after the last fight. But we've been in talks for a long time since I was like 1-0 and had many phone calls and meetings since then. But even Tim was like, "There's nothing for me to do at this point. Like, you just got to keep doing what you're doing, and when it's my time to step in, I will." And now he thinks it's that time, and here we are.
Yeah, Tim and Dan are honestly one of the best guys because they're very honest as well. Like
Mm.
when you're young, like even like a Jack Jenkins, they're like, "Hey, look, we can do as much as any management can do for you, really." He's like, "But
Yeah.
when you're a star, he's like,
Mm.
we'll get you like the most money you've ever seen in your life
Yeah.
type thing," which is crazy because a lot of managers would just be like, "Oh, George, I'm the best. I can get you everything all the time." Where they're
Yeah.
pretty open and honest about like, we can't do shit for you until you are a star.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's what I liked about those guys. They didn't try to like sell me a dream. They just told me the truth, and obviously they know I'm talented and would want to work with me. But I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, and the doors will open themselves.
Do you have to avoid much in terms of, you get a lot of sponsors, a lot of people coming on board? Like, surely a bit of the negative parts of life are creeping in, hey, George, come have a drink. Like, we'll take you out to dinner. Like, is a lot of that stuff starting to pop up?
Honestly, not really. I'll keep my circle small, and I've had the same group of people around me for a long time, so they always know what path I'm on, and it's not like I just surround myself with people like that. So it's been pretty smooth sailing in that regard. I'm thankful for that, and yeah, it's been easy to keep my head screwed on.
That's cool, man. And in terms of having this bout with Ethan Thomas, it's one of your toughest bouts. I
Mm.
don't think people are aware of the hype that he brings, but it's at a real pivotal point in your career. And like you said, I think if you get over the bump here, UFC's guaranteed. If you
Yeah.
don't, it's a good test because it's not like you're taking some nobody beforehand type thing. Is there any like thing that you want to show? Is there anything in your preparation that you've really sort of worked on? Does your ego want to grapple with him?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Look, man, we have a lot of black belts at the gym, and I've been rolling with them every day. They've been coming in for sparring. Like, I'm doing really well against them. My takedown defense has leveled up so much. So I'm keen to show that, and just to show that you can't just take me down and think you're gonna win rounds like that. I'm keen to defend takedowns. I'm keen to then just show what I can do from then, and then put him away in spectacular fashion. win that 5K bonus.
Oh yeah, no, I saw that. That's wild, eh?
Yeah, that's me and my one got a little competition about who can win that.
Oh yeah, Milan's taking on Michael Barber too. Oh,
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
that's a rough one. Michael Barber, I've talked to him about this as well. Like this, he's like the UFC dream killer. Like if
Yeah,
you go up against him, man, like it's like you're either gonna like spark him and you're off to the races and you're like superstar and you got a highlight reel, or
yeah,
he is just gonna drag you into the deep waters
yeah.
and show you don't belong.
It's very possible for it to be a tough fight for my one, but we've been putting in like crazy work this camp. I've got like so all faith in him that he's gonna do what he has to do and get the job done. Just as
Yeah.
long as he doesn't take my money from me.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. So I think he's going to be like Barber's almost like a fraud checker as well. Like
Yeah,
Marwan's, beautiful striking, great highlights. No one really
yeah,
gives him credit for just how good that Michael Manu fight was. But
yeah,
it's interesting that it's like he could make it real ugly, and Marwan is a real pretty fighter. So can he
exactly.
can he get down and dirty?
Yeah, my one, he can do it all. He can do it all. He can sub him if he wants.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah, he can do it all.
What,
We're all rounded at the den.
flying triangle?
Yeah, flying triangles.
All right, mate. Before I let you go, give me a prediction, mate. How's this fight going?
Oh, look, I'll put him out of the inside too. I'm coming for another knockout, and yeah, I'm gonna make sure it happens.
Mate, if you pull off a flying triangle, I'll retire.
Yeah, all that. I wouldn't be complaining. Another a black belt flying triangle.
Oh, I love it, mate. All right, best of luck. You're a superstar, and I'll
Thank
see
you
you
very
in
much.
Melbourne.
I'll
Good
see
on
you
you.
there.